So over on the left, we have Kent. He's representing Team Lotus. Ray Perez over on the right. Now, you actually got a chance to test with Ray Perez for some Pro Tours recently, right?
Yeah, so Ray's thing, he plays a lot of Magic online when everybody else plays live Magic, but I birded a lot of his drafts, and I got a chance to talk to him a lot. Really fun guy to work with.
On the Pro Tour, he's more known as a limited specialist player. Interesting, though, definitely seeing him do well in Constructed today as well, too.
Oh yeah, he's just an all-around very good technical player.
His turn 2 play, Jace Vryn's Prodigy. It's going to be spatially contorted by Kent. So we keep the board clean going to turn number 3. Now Kent could have Hedron Crawled that turn, but opting for the kill spell to take care of the powerful 2-drop.
Yeah, Jace is super good, and it looks like he has action on 3 anyway, so not missing too much.
It is Thopter Engineer for Kent, or at least he'll try for it, see if it resolves, and that will not happen. Ray will Clash of Wills it.
I like that. The Thopter Engineer does represent 2 bodies, so for the control deck, being able to cleanly deal with that with 1 spell is a good spot to be in. Clash of Wills also gets significantly worse as the game progresses.
He managed to tag the early creature there. Notice for Kent, he did have to go to 19 there. All his mana sources right now of red off Pain lands. He has a Battlefield Forge and Shivan Reef. Now that has to do with the fact that he's also a colorless deck, right?
Right, and Ray's deck is not especially good at punishing this kind of mana base in the way an aggressive deck would be. Though the Wandering Fumarole and a Chandra Flamecaller from Ray could make those points matter.
Play his Tomb of the Spirit Dragon for Kent. And then he will try for another one of the 3 drops in his deck. This is a copy of Vile Aggregate.
Yeah, the Vile Aggregate, just a 1/5 when it hangs out by itself, but as you cast more colorless creatures, it starts to get out of control. I've controlled a number of 5/5, 6/5 Vile Aggregates in my time.
Look over at Ray's hand. Does he want to use a kill spell on it? Looks like he has Kolaghan's Command, Duress, 2 other cards, no more lands.
Those spells do not line up very well against Mono Red Eldrazi at all.
There's Kolaghan's Command on Kent. Discarding a card and bringing back the Jace.
Yeah, with that Duress still in hand and just some other spells like the Dispel that aren't lining up super well, the Jace's ability to loot will be a big benefit for Ray.
Well, this is something we actually saw last time Ray was on camera. The fact that he wasn't playing white for control, that his kill spells were Grasp at Darknesses instead of Crackling Dooms, really hurt him.
Yeah, it really hurt him against Siege Rhino, and it's going to come into play in this match as well against the Vile Aggregate on the table that has 5 toughness and, of course, Reality Smasher. In the main deck, it's really just Murderous Cut that can cleanly deal with these if you don't counter them before they come into play.
So no land drop for Ray, but he will cast that Jace that he got out of his graveyard, hoping to turn that one into a Planeswalker as early as next turn. And for Kent, it's going to be Thought Knot Seer. He had to pick between that and Roast for the Jace. He goes for the Thought Knot, and now he'll get a glimpse at Ray's hand. Or maybe he won't. Murderous Cut's going to take care of Thought Knot. So Ray draws, and now the exile happens. Grasp of Darkness, Dispel, Duress, and Dig Through Time.
Ray offers for Kent to take the Duress. It's unlikely that Kent will bite.
Yeah, it looks like he selected the Dig Through Time. That one seems pretty straightforward.
Right.
Now, what do you think? Kent playing Thought Knot instead of Roast there.
So I like trying to get a little bit of aggressive. He doesn't know the contents of Ray's hand until he casts the Thought Knot Seer. Doesn't necessarily realize how poorly it would necessarily line up and how important the Jace really is. Yeah,
he really does need that Jace to flip. Here's a Duress from Ray. We'll take care of Kent's Roast, so leading him with Hangerback Walker, Thopter Engineer.
Now the Duress ended up mattering in a big way there. Though the Jace will be flipping this turn.
Right.
Later down the road, though, if Ray ends up with, say, a Kalitas on the table, that could punish Kent in a big way.
If Ray loots with that Jace. Well, it looks like Ray has 3 cards in graveyard. He did have to delve for that Murderous Cut.
Right. And I think he had 2 black... maybe the Grasp of Darkness was the card picked up on the Thought Knot Seer, but it could be that the delving was somewhat intentional to get the additional looting.
Okay, so he actually wants to loot.
Right.
That makes sense. There's nothing too great to flash back just yet.
Right.
He'll pass the turn. We go back over to Kent that draws a copy of Ruins of Oren Reef. He will play that, and then it looks like go for Thopter Engineer. Last one was countered by Clash of Wills. But it looks like this one is going to get to hit. So Kent will have a 1/1 Thopter with haste. That's also a colorless creature for Vile Aggregate. The aggregate will grow to a 2/5.
Yep, adds 3 power to the board, 2 of which can attack this turn. Thopter Engineer is quite impressive in this deck, actually.
A loot from Perez off with the Jace. He draws a Swamp.
Also with that Hangerback Walker in hand for Kent, the Ruins of Oren Reef will be able to pump that on the free, and the Thopter Engineer gives it haste.
So Ray will loot, discard a card, then delve it away to cast Murderous Cut on Vile Aggregate. He does take 1.
Yeah, so Ray just has those 2 Murderous Cuts in the entire deck, so if Kent starts peeling Reality Smashers, that could be a big problem for Ray.
Grasp of Darkness hits the Thopter Engineer. Now Jace loots. It will... Ray sequences it in such a way that the Jace is going to flip into the Telepath Unbound, and now Ray will destroy the Thopter and have Kent discard a card by flashing back Kolagon's command and leaves Kent empty-handed.
Yep, he knew the Hangerback Walker was there from Duress, and having Kent discard it is the cleanest way to deal with that.
Well, how about this? It's Pia and Kieran Nalar off the top for Kent. He'll play it, get 2 Thopters, and make one of the Thopters into a 2/2. That passes the turn.
Yeah, that was a really good peel for Kent. Ray does not have any main deck Radiant Flames, it looks like. So, he has 1 copy of Radiant Flames in the main. So he's looking,
just 1.
He's looking for that or to set up Chandra Flamecaller to clean up this board.
Well, Ray does draw a copy of Painful Truths. That'll help him a lot. Takes 3, but draws 3.
Yeah, even another Kolagon's command could kill the Pia and the 2/2 Thopter, so that'd be pretty good.
Yeah, and I believe he has just that.
And then the Jace will be able to bubble whatever creature is left behind.
Ray will fetch. And we do see Kolagon's command hiding in his hand.
Very good pickup for Ray.
So 2 damage to Pia and Kieran. Destroy target artifact on a Thopter. Jace pluses on the other Thopter, and Kent is back to having no board.
Checks the top of his deck. It was good last turn. Reality Smasher would be huge for Ketter here.
Oh goodness, would that be good. Takes pain. It is Vile Aggregate. Puts a 1/1 counter on it and passes.
This is good. As we said, Ray has used both of his Murderous Cuts, so dealing with the aggregate is somewhat difficult. At this point in time, the Jace can bubble it. It's just a 2-power creature. But that is subject to change.
Well, keep in mind that Kent, if he draws a land next turn, can crack that Foundry of the Councils.
Right. Any colorless creatures makes it larger, or just a land lets him pop that and give it +2.
So we're back to Perez. His Jace is at 3. If he wants more action, he can -3 the Jace. Looks like he has some combination of a land, a dispel, and a 3rd card. So Jace will plus on the Thopter.
3rd card looks like another Jace. He does have the option to just block the aggregate with the Wandering Fumarole, though with that Foundry of the Consoles, that land for Kent, that's not a very good proposition.
Well, there's the land for Kent. So now he has 6 mana. He can crack the Foundry of the Councils for 2 Thopters. On the surface, it looks like he has enough damage to deal with the Jace.
Yep, and Kent has to figure out whether he wants to go for Jace or just go for Ray.
So here's Vile Aggregate. Will Kent crack Foundry? And he'll, Aggregate will go at Jace.
Kent's thinking about a lot. You know, this is not an easy decision. Ray has the ability to just chump with the Fumarole, or if he had a red spell in his hand that Kent does not know is not there, something like a Grasp of Darkness, he could team up and take care of the Vile Aggregate.
So Fumarole blocks. Kent will sacrifice the Foundry of the Councils to make 2 Thopters. So now the aggregate is a 4/5. It takes care of the creature land, but Jace survives.
And Ray actually got 5/6 due to that Ruins of Oren Reef counter, so that even plucks away at Jace. That 1 point of damage matters quite a bit because now Jace can't flash back and stick around.
Yeah, Vile Aggregate does have trample. Vile Aggregate being pretty impressive in this list.
Yeah, the card has just been better than it looks. It's a Pro Tour champion. Again, this card won a Modern Pro Tour.
Sure.
More than it looks like.
We go back to Perez. Continues to show that Dispel that's been hiding in his hand. Now he's drawn a copy of Kalitas, Trader to Get.
Kalitas is solid here. Something Ray might be considering is casting Kalitas and using Jace to flash back one of those murderous cuts to deal with the aggregate.
Sure, that seems solid. He has triple black.
Right, he has to deal with the aggregate eventually.
Here's Kalitas.
You could bubble on the aggregate, then it can't outright kill Kalitas, though the Thopters would pressure your Jace and you would lose the ability to ever flashback.
Yep, and he's going to go ahead and just cash in the Jace for murderous cuts. So here's aggregate. It's exiled. And zombie for Kalitas.
Yeah, and Ray still has that backup Jace in hand, so that should be good going forward.
Another Vile Aggregate for Kent. It will get a counter. And the 3 Thopters swing in, putting Ray to 9.
Vile Aggregate's a reasonable top deck for Ketter, though with the Kalitas and the zombie to sacrifice, it's not going to make too much work on the ground.
Yeah, well, it still can block, but you're right. The Kalitas could get all up to a 5-6 lifelink.
Right, and the real story of this game is just the Thopters that Ray can't do anything about just yet. Jace will help on that front, though. If Ray is able to flip it, he does have those Kolagon's commands in the graveyard.
Kent drawing Roast for Kalitas. Void Shatter from Perez. I'm actually surprised to see Void Shatter there. I would think that Ray would just... I suppose he can. I was going to say I think would have thought he would just sacrifice the zombie, but if that's the situation, then he can no longer block the Vile Aggregate.
Exactly. You could sacrifice the zombie, go up to 6 toughness, but with that 5 damage on and this 5 power creature rumbling in, you're just taking a bunch of trample damage.
Yeah, the Kalitas would die, so Void Shatter is the card used. Now, keep in mind, Kent doesn't have very many answers to a Kalitas, especially not one that can become a 5-6.
Right. On the other side of things with the Void Shatter line, though, now you're just kind of taking the damage from the aggregate and you can't use Kalitas to trade with it if you wanted to.
Whoa, so Kent swings Vile Aggregate with the Thopters. I'm a little confused by the Vile Aggregate swing.
It does have 6 toughness from the Runes of Oran Reef counter, so the Kalitas and the zombie together can't even kill the aggregate.
Oh, okay, so Ray can't sacrifice the zombie to Kalitas right now.
Right, tap
if he
too
could,
low.
That would make sense.
Right. Yeah, casting that Void Scatter tapped him too low for that line.
So the zombie appears will chump block the Vile Aggregate. Well, at least save 2 life. It has trample, so 7 is going to come across, putting Perez down to 2.
Precarious situation. Really needs to find something good off of this Jace here. If he could, well, no, Radiant Flames isn't even very good here because those Thopters wouldn't make any zombies. I believe he'll still have that second murderous cut in the graveyard to deal with the aggregate, though the Thopters are lethal on their own.
Modern Classic competitors, the last slip is in. Pairings for round number 2 will be going up shortly.
3 to 18 are the life totals. Jace will plus up to 5. Ray just playing off top of his deck. Still has that Dispel. It has 2 targets in Kent's main deck, and they're the 2 copies of Spatial Contortion.
One was already cast. On his Jace on turn 2. He picked up a second copy of Kalitas, which isn't doing anything. So it was a choice between discarding that and Dispel.
Here's the other murderous cut.
Modern Classic competitors, your pairings are up in paper in the back of the room.
There you go. Jace -3s to flashback the murderous cut. Vile Aggregate hits the bin. Zombie is made off the Vile Aggregate, and it looks like Ray's going to sacrifice the zombie to grow Kalitas, swing for 5 with lifelink, and put himself back up to 8.
Yep, he would still be dead to a Reality Smasher, though Kent has not drawn one yet this game.
For Kent, he'll just continue chipping away. It is 2 damage to get Jace, 1 damage at Ray. Plays a hanger back on 2 and makes it 3 off Orin Reef.
That's a big draw. What doesn't kill Ray the way that Reality Smasher does, but it can jump in front of the Kalitas and just make 3 more Thopters.
Well, that can't really because Kalitas will stop that.
Oh, right. The Kalitas would exile it and just make a zombie. It can crack back for 3, though.
It can crack back for 3. So you see Ray swinging in again. He gets Kent down to 8, gains 5 life.
Modern Classic competitors, your parents are now online at Perez.
But Ray's at 9. The Thopters are doing their best to race this
Round 2 shortly.
life-linking ground pounder.
Tassiger's a solid pickup. The Hangerback Walker won't be able to smash through that.
Ray's going to avoid everything but the Kolagon's command.
I like leaving that one there.
Yeah, well, that one seems like what he wants on this board. I mean, all of Kent's threats are artifacts at the moment.
Right. Artifacts and then a bunch of creatures with less than 2 toughness.
Thopter Engineer from Kent will be void shattered by Perez. And now Ray has a lethal swing on board, and that's too much for Ketter. Game 1 goes over to Ray Perez.
Yes, stumbled on some not great cards in his hand for a while, but ends up squeaking it out with the power of Kalitas. That lifelink text line, super relevant.
Yeah, and some real great back and forth there. You were saying a lot during the game that you felt like Kent was one Reality Smasher from bringing it home.
Yeah, there were multiple windows where Reality Smasher would have been outright lethal or possibly just too much for Ray to deal with, and Kent not drawing one. Pretty unfortunate for him.
Well, we're going to go ahead and look at the sideboard. We'll start over on Kent Ketter. It's his undefeated mono-red Eldrazi deck. He's got Ash Cloud Phoenix, Outpost Siege, Arc Lightning, Thought-Knot Seer. What do we like in the matchup?
So Ash Cloud Phoenix and Outpost Siege are the value options to try to keep up on cards with control decks, so I think we'll for sure be seeing those ones. Thought-Knot Seer gets him another look at Ray's hand to pluck away one of the best spells. We could bring in Eldrazi Obligator just as a haste creature, though it's not the most exciting option. I don't think we'll necessarily be seeing that one. I think it's mostly going to be those 5 cards at the top of the list.
Yeah, those ones seem great. On Ray's side, I imagine we have some cards to board out. I'm thinking main deck Dispel, maybe.
Yeah, I think Ray's seen enough of that Dispel. He could potentially leave Duress in as a way to get ahead of Chandra. Kent does play 4 copies, though I'm not huge on leaving that in the deck either. Radiant Flames would have been good in a lot of windows this game, so we'll see more copies of that coming in. Ruinous Path has ways to deal with those 5 toughness creatures. We saw Vile Aggregate kind of giving Ray fits at multiple stages of the game. Disdainful Stroke's an option. It does counter Thought-Knot Seer, Reality Smasher, Chandra Flamecaller, so I wouldn't be unhappy to see those. And in any kind of creature matchup where your opponent is not good at dealing with it, Dragonlord Slumgar, especially if you steal a Chandra.
Oh, wow, yeah.
That's a huge swing, so I'd like to see that one come in as well. And then the Languish is another sweeper.
Well, what I like for Ray in the matchup is just how good these Kalitas seem to be. Kent's deck can't particularly answer one that's on the board, especially not once there's a zombie in play, and Ray has 3 in the main deck.
Right, Kalitas eating a zombie puts it out of roast range. You have to roast, which is a sorcery, and then also deal some damage in combat. An awkward combination.
Our players are getting ready here for Game 2. We're going to take a second to tell you about the next Grand Prix that Star City Games is running. It's going to be Grand Prix Charlotte. That's happening on Modern Weekend. If you were able last week to make it out to DC, you know what to expect in a Star City Grand Prix, and this is going to be more of that. This is a part of Modern Weekend along with Grand Prix LA. So on the West Coast, Channel Fireball will be running Grand Prix Los Angeles, and over on the East Coast, Star City Games has Grand Prix Charlotte. So what can you expect from the weekend? Well, first of all, we'll be giving over the Jace playmat to everyone in the main event. This is the Pour Over the Pages Jace playmat. That art. At the same time, if you do not want to play the main event, maybe you don't have a modern deck, we also give this away to anyone buying the 3-day Infinite Challenge package. So, 2 ways to get the playmat. Of course, to get the 1 month of Star City Games Premium and the Stoneforge Mystic promo. Now, we have more going on the weekend as well. There's some premium rewards you can get all weekend. That will get you the Noble Hierarch playmat, sleeves, deck box, and pin. And you can pick those up at any point during the weekend, so you don't have to be there at the beginning, or you can do it on your own schedule. We also have artist alleys and special guests. Our guest of honor, Rob Alexander, he'll be there to sign artwork and do all weekend, as well as selling some of his own art. We have a whole row of artists you can see here, as well as Christine Sprankle, the cosplayer, will be in attendance as well. We have that and more, so to find out more, head over to our webpage at starcitygames.com/GPCharlotte. We go back toward game 2. Ketter is on the play. No plays on turn 1 or 2 just yet. But looks like he has some Thopter engineers to start things up on turn 3.
Yeah, not a ton in the way of 2-mana action in the deck anyway, so missing on Hedron, Crawler, and Hangerback Walker, not huge.
A Duress from Ray takes a roast. Actually, no Thopter engineers. We're going to go a little bit bigger with the Thopters here. Kent has 2 Thought-Knot Seers, a Pia and Kiran Nalar, and then lands 3 and 4. Notably, though, none of them are red lands.
Yeah, this is pretty dicey for a keep. He is able to cast Thought-Knot Seer starting on turn 4 and go back-to-back into the next turn with the colorless source, though if Ray just has Disdainful Strokes in hand, Kent just has a hand that doesn't go anywhere.
Let's see what he can do here. Ray playing land 3 here. Looks like he has a lot of control options. Murderous Cuts available at the very least. He should be just fine against these Thought-Knot Seers.
Right, already has the Duress in the graveyard. 3 lands, one of them's a fetch land. That's Murderous Cut mana right there.
And here's the first Thought-Knot Seer. We will see if Ray even lets it exile a card. And with 2 Murderous Cuts, I don't see why not.
Yep. You know, and there's a lot of pressure on Ray's counter spells and removal spells. He's going to use something on the Thought-Knot Seer. It's just a matter of what.
He will Murderous Cut it. I'm a little surprised to see him Murderous Cut it before if he has 2 cuts. Looks like, yeah, he does. I'm surprised to see him if he has 2 Murderous Cuts to do this before the trigger resolves.
Yeah, you'll end up letting Kent see an extra card to potentially take, so it is somewhat awkward.
With only 1 Murderous Cut, this makes sense because he can't afford to let Kent take it.
Right. You know, maybe it's Kent does not necessarily know the exact makeup of Ray's deck, and one thing is Ray does struggle to deal with 5 toughness creatures. So by casting the first Murderous Cut, you might make Kent less likely to take the other copy.
Well, Kent selects the Kalitas, but Ray will refuel. It's a copy of Painful Truths here. Plays land number 4 and passes. Kent, Ruins of Oran Reef is the play, and another Thought-Knot Seer. He'll get a look at the hand again. It is 2 lands, Murderous Cut, Tasigur, Duress, Grasp of Darkness, and Anticipate.
That's a pretty excellent hand. Even if you take away any of these spells, you'll still have an answer to the Thought-Knot Seer, minimally in the form of a larger creature.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of everything going on. It's got some discard, 2 kill spells, a threat, and a cantrip. Looks like for the 2nd time in a row, Kent will be taking the threat out of Raymond's hand. He takes the Tasigur.
It's an interesting line for Kent to be taking.
You're surprised he didn't take Murderous Cut?
Right. The one thing is, you know, the Tasigur is going to be larger than most of the creatures in Kent's deck, but just the expressibility to deal with creatures is, there's a lot of pressure on Ray to have these cards in his hand, so I would be aggressively targeting them.
Well, I suppose with Grasp of Darkness and Murderous Cut, he can't take the removal, so he takes the 4/5. You see Ray on his turn goes ahead and Grasp of Darkness is away the Thought-Knot Seer to keep the board clean.
But Ray is not showing Kent any counter spells, so if we go for things like Murderous Cut, then we're going to make our Reality Smashers very good going forward. To be fair, Kent does have a PN Kiran Nalar, so the 1-for-1 removal is not exceptional against that.
Sure. What Ray does have is another copy of Painful Truths. That's 3 more cards he'll have to discard. A land will hit the bin. So we go back to Ketter. He has land number 6 into play. And now it's Pia and Kiran Nalar. SCGINDY will bring 2 Thopters with them. One of them made bigger with Ruins of Oran Reef. And they'll pass back the turn.
Pia's solid here. What Kent would have really liked that turn is their daughter. Chandra Flamecaller would have been much better. But this is good.
Ray fires up the Duress, sees a pair of lands. No help there. He does have a Radiant Flames in the main, and could have up to 4 post board.
Right.
If you're looking for a clean answer to this.
In addition to a Languish.
Absolutely right. He does have one. And there's one of the Radiant Flames. That'll shoot down the Nalars and the Thopters.
And he knows that Kent just has a couple lands. Now, Foundry of the Consoles can make creatures, but...
How about this? Hangerback Walker on 3. Ruins of Oran Reef will pump it up to 4.
That's a very good top deck.
Yeah, Ray will anticipate. See if he can find an answer to that one.
Yeah, this is where Kent picking that Kalitas ends up being pretty good. Ray's not able to just cast Kalitas and exile that Hangerback Walker.
Yeah, and you're wondering whether or not Kent actually just has to take Kalitas every option available. Ray does find another one.
Speaking of Kalitas.
Well, it's the advantage of playing 3 of the card, right?
Right.
And big draw, big play. Kalitas will be the play for Ray. Looks like he will Murderous cut away the Hangerback Walker. And we're looking to see a repeat of game 1 here, where Kalitas plus Zombie can run away with the game.
Right. That Foundry of the Console is looking a lot less good on Kent's side in the presence of Kalitas. If Kent still has Roast in the deck, he really wants to draw one to deal with this Kalitas before it gets out of hand. But outside of that, he doesn't have action otherwise. There's a lot of pressure on Kent to draw running relevant spells.
So yeah, the play was Kalitas, then Murderous Cut, then Jace on Ray's side.
Huge turn.
Huge turn. Once he gets to a 5-power lifelinker, you just feel like Kent's out of range.
Yeah, you know, there's a lot of pressure on Ray to have removals for 5 types of creatures, but how about a 5/6 with lifelink? That'll do the job.
Yeah, Kent doesn't have ways to kill it. Draw from Ketter. Appears might be an Outpost Siege.
Looks like a Thopter Engineer.
Yeah. It's not really helpful right now.
No. The Outpost Siege would be pretty glacial, but the Thopter Engineer is just not even the right level of impact over any amount of time.
So draw from Ray, he just has that Anticipate left. And some land, so he will loot with Jace. Flip it into a Planeswalker.
Yeah, so what Kent is holding up here, he has the ability to sacrifice Foundry of the Consoles and then use Ruins to make one of the Thopters into a 2-power creature, though that's still not enough power to get in front of Kalitas.
So here's a swing of 5 into Kent. It'll take him from 20 down to 15. More importantly, on Ray's side, it will gain him 3 life off that lifelink. And now he's going to try to put it out of range. Jace -3. Looks like it's going to flash back a Painful Truths. And Ray will draw 3 cards yet again.
Yeah, so Kent's plan here is going to be to sacrifice the Foundry of the Consoles. If Ray could find Kolagon's command, you know, Kent is just kind of on nothing.
So he's going to sacrifice the land to make 2 Thopters. Looks like Ruins of Oran Reef will make one of the Thopters into a 2/2. So he's doing powerful things, but it's that lifelink Vampire in play that's just doing a number on Kent.
Right. Kent has creatures that can take down the Jace if Ray doesn't have a removal spell, but that's not the whole game. That's just one element of the powerful things that Ray is doing.
Multiple Engineers in hand for Kent. He will try for 1 Thopter Engineer, and Ray's going to Anticipate. Look, that finds a pair of Radiant Flames and a Dig Through Time. So Ray actually deciding which one to take, but tell you what, all of them look pretty good right here.
Yeah.
He actually just shows it to Kent.
Ray could play a little 3-card Monty and just take whatever out of that stack.
And you see just a shake of the head for Kent. Ray shows, yeah, I took the Dig Through Time. Thopter Engineer makes a Thopter. Ruins of Oran Reef pumps it.
Ray's a very friendly guy. I mean, it doesn't feel good when you're on the other side of the table and he's showing you that he has all those Radiant Flames in the dig. But, you know, he's just trying to have a conversation.
I mean, don't you think right now that Ray wishes... let's back up. I don't think Ray's in danger of losing here, but I want the Radiant Flames on this board.
Yeah.
Sack the Zombie, make Kalitas a 5/6, sweep the team.
Yep.
It's kind of the best card in his deck, but Ray just wants more cards, so he'll delve a Dig Through Time after going down to 12.
I can't fault somebody for picking up Dig Through Time. This is probably Raymond's one of the last opportunities he's going to have to cast that spell. It's banned in Modern. It's banned in Legacy. He's going to have to draw one of it if he wants to play it in Vintage.
Is it restricted in Vintage
It
too?
is. It is restricted in Vintage.
So I have 6 of them in my trade binder.
That's too many.
Well, so you're saying I have to build 6 Vintage decks?
I'm saying you have to trade away 5.
Maybe I'll have to build 6 different cubes. I could get behind that one.
Okay, yeah, that's a great card for Cube.
Dig Through Time. So he'll select a Dig Through Time off it. And untap. So he's gone down to 10. In theory, his life total is going down. Now, in practice, I'm just not sure that's going to be the case.
Yeah, I imagine it's going to be going right back up.
Many lands for Perez.
Those lands are not looking as good as Radiant Flames on this board.
Well, we'll see if it catches up to him. It would take a lot for Ray to lose control here. He goes to 9 on a fetch. Grabs Sunken Hollow. I see 9 mana available. He'll start with Dig Through Time, delving the rest of the graveyard.
That's a good start.
Now that he did shuffle his deck, he can find Radiant. Just as Ray's great. All right. As he goes through 7 cards, tosses a Chandra onto the table. That will get a concession from Ken.
Picks up cards one at a time, sees that the 4th card is Chandra, throws it on the table, starts to pick up cards again, but is met by Kent's hand.